Hey everybody, Jeff Lobb here, SparkTank Media, another episode with Office Hours with Jeff. I'm Jeff Lobb, excited to be here with you guys today. If you've been watching the show, we've been ramping up with some awesome talent and some awesome people in the industry. And today I couldn't be more excited to be having this conversation with Jeff Lichtenstein from down in Florida, which I'm going to introduce more formally in a second. I'm watching some of you kind of jump on the live stream. And I know a few of you said you wanted to make sure you were jumping on. So as you know, the stream builds up. Now, just to be honest, we've had some technical difficulties. Hopefully we hold our grounds a little bit, right, Jeff? Our weather here in New Jersey is terrible. Florida, how's the weather down by you, Jeff?
Blue skies, a lot of palm trees.
Jeff, I'm always jealous. All right, so people are here. We're on. Beautiful. All right, so let me give you an introduction and set the stage for Jeff. For years, back in the Inman days, even going 2 years back, when Gary Vee took the stage in San Francisco, he talked about things that we've been talking about for a year prior was, if you're not the digital mayor of your community, you're missing the boat. Then this year, Inman, San Francisco again, Scott Stratton takes the stage, talks about, and I love the quote because it's very similar things we've been talking to, is if you're talking about community, the community is never about the location or the place. It's about the people in the place. And we've been excited. We've been working with Jeff Lichtenstein of Echo Fine Properties down in Florida. And he's not only rebranded himself this past year, I'll let him tell you that, but he's also really taking the lead of engaging video and the community and the people to build relationships through their stories. And we've got some really awesome examples. We want to tell you what he's doing, how he's doing it, and wait till you see some of the success he's having out of the gates. So let's welcome Jeff Lichtenstein to the show. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, for who's watching. What's up, Jeff? Where's Jeff? Jeff, you there?
Hi.
There he is. So let's see. I hope his audio is coming through. Where did he go? Let's see. Let me put his screen up there. All right. So Lisa's saying we can't see it. There we go. Jeff, are you back with us?
Okay.
There we go.
I'm back.
All right. Awesome. So I introduced you real quick. Tell us a little bit about, real quick, you went through a rebrand recently, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Tell us about, who you were, where you are today, and some of the vision of that. And then I want to dive into some of the video that you're doing and the systems you're using to make that happen.
Yeah, so I've been in the business for 15 years. Before that, I was in the home textile sales and worked for my father about 35 weeks a year for about a decade. So about 9 years ago, went more on my own, and so I branded myself with the name Jeff Realty, which made a lot of sense at the time just because it was me. So everything was geared towards me. So this is 2010, built a website. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, we started getting all these internet leads. So we popped up high in Google and we're doing all these things, extra things for agents. And I had a lot of agents starting to come on, a lot of buyer's agents. And then it led to, we brought a photographer in. So we have our own photography, our own IT person, own social media person, and person answering the phones where we get leads from. And all of a sudden we end up we're right now at 45 people. It's about doubled in the last year. So I wanted to change the name from Jeff Realty, which I thought was really a good name for myself, but I thought it was a bad name going forward. When other agents come in, they're promoting me, which I think is a little awkward. And I think most people end up doing that, whether it's Keller Williams or it's just somebody's name. So right. I thought if I was going to make the move, this would be the time to do a name change.
Right. And it took you, I know, some time because we worked together on your campaigns, and your diligence is just amazing how much time you put into the rebrand. So Echo Fine Properties is where you are today.
Yeah. So what happened there was I hired actually some madmen back in that day in New York to come up with something that was out of the box. So it wasn't just the same, you open the newspaper, you see an ad, here's an agency name, and then a picture in there. So I was trying to create something a little that was different from that, that was more memorable. So we had one thing, spent a lot of money on it. I junked it at the last second, and then restarted over again. and I commissioned all these different names coming out. But one of the things I learned is when you're doing a name, it needs to be authentic. And I kept trying to think what describes us. And so I was thinking about dolphins. I was we were on the other coast. We went on a dolphin cruise, and I'm looking at everybody enjoying the dolphins and running and watching them. And dolphins swim together in a pod, and they communicate together in a pod. So we find a lot of buyers, or find, through a lot of advanced communication, and we work together as a team with all these department heads, which is very different than what a typical agent does. Yeah. So I thought a dolphin pod really was a good fit, but I didn't like the name Dolphin, which I thought was a little cheesy, and I didn't like the name Sonar. And then echolocation came up, and then that's where the branding came. So it's an authentic piece that really does describe us too.
Sure, and it's relevant to your market, obviously, being
right.
on the coast and elite market, and it's a prestigious feel is what we get from your brand.
And there was a challenge there because dolphins, you think of the Miami dolphin, and dolphins have cute little fins. So in what we wanted to do here is we played with it because I wanted the dolphins in the logo, which didn't work out. At the better logos were without the dolphins because they were too cutesy. But we ended up using the dolphin in as many places as we can. Sometimes we go monochromatic, but they're real dolphins, so they look much more majestic in the wild. And all of our branding, whatever we do, this was like a video player that we have, incorporates the dolphins in.
Yeah, I think there you go. You broke up a little bit on me there. Show me the video player again, if you can. All right, so we're just having some Facebook. We knew we were going to have some of these issues today, so we're going to work through them.
So Trish just told me in our office that I could put the phone on Do Not Disturb, but I don't want to touch it. I know something bad will happen if I touch it.
Oh, is that what's happening? You're getting into? Oh, I gotcha.
I'm getting incoming calls. Yeah.
That's what's interrupt. Okay, well, you know what? We learn on that. Show me the and if that happens, we got time. We'll just buy you a few seconds to come back. Show me the video player again. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so this is a video player, and I had it custom designed. So think of this: we're working with a client, and before we meet them the day before, let's say we're going on a listing appointment, we want to show them our materials. So in this case, video speaks so much more volume than what you can do in paper. So this is like a video, for example. This particular one has 6 different pieces. So this is a company video that we made up.
Look at that. That is freaking sexy, man. That is gorgeous. Can you imagine, like for those who are listening, and I can see it very clearly, it's amazing. Imagine having that as one of your marketing pieces to be able to hand out to just about anybody. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a cost to it. But that being said, it's a gorgeous piece of digital equipment that's being brought out on listing presentations. So I think it's a fantastic way to market yourself. We're leveraging his mobile device today based on some connection issues at the office. So he will break up
another call. So
there we go. So go ahead.
I'm that player, Jeff. We can put in a company video for all of our agents. Yeah. We've done videos on the agents that we're using in a lot of different places, whether it's social media, whether it's on a player like this, on our new website. We're about 6 weeks away from launching that. But we have a lot of video that's incorporated into the website that we can use in all these different places so that they get to know the agent, and then different maps of the area, an overview of the area. So we're working with a buyer. They can watch some video on the area and figure out where all the condos are, where all the schools are, where the shopping is, or whatever we want to put on there.
That's fantastic. So when we started talking about, the video concept and trying to, working with your agents and trying to get them to now get into the community, build relationships, start shooting video. A lot of it we were talking about was on this device right here. We're trying to get them to do that. We had some challenges in the beginning of getting them to understand it's not about being just a video person or a media person. It's about leveraging the technology that's here to go create an awesome value proposition to a business, a colleague, an owner, to create a relationship versus the same old pitch. Do you remember when agents started to do this in our team? Remember some of the challenges they faced?
So when we met at Inman, I bought what Gary Vee had to say, and I actually ran up to him when he was leaving and had about 30 seconds of time from him. So I remember the two pieces of advice he said was, you need to do it yourself and learn it yourself. And then you just need to get, you need to get involved. Yeah. So part of the challenge for me was I was not a natural person on Facebook, and a lot of people on our team worked. So it was just getting everybody to do it themselves and really learn how we could do it myself. So like my father, would not go on Facebook. So it was just getting him used to it. Now he's totally, into it. So that was a huge challenge. That was the baby step that I think you have to do. So at least you don't have to be the one executing it, but you better understand it. Just like every other part of your business, you understand. And then it was a lot of work. And then figuring out how to do it, what to say. There was a lot of struggles that we went through, throughout that whole process.
Sure. And I remember, so let me talk, I remember some of the agents, and not to be specific which one, but some were struggling, and others, I recall, and maybe you'll remember which agent was particular, had the French restaurant. She went down and met the French restaurant in her area. She took her iPhone, or her husband took her iPhone, and they did a little bit of an interview like this, and they just kind of talked. And the whole conversation was really just not about being in the interview. It was about, how did he create the restaurant? What kind of food does he have there? What's his passion? And after a 10, 20-minute session, not only was it good content for the community, it got the chef had to be thrilled to have that kind of representation and something he can use in his own business to share out to his audience, to promote and market his business. So if you remember, that's where some of this started. And then you stepped up your game yourself.
Yeah, so a lot of it was, we saw what it was doing. I practiced myself. I interviewed some of my clients, what they loved about the home. A lot of it was trying to capture the feel of, why do you love to live here, if we were doing a video on somebody's home, or what about your business is terrific. I remember going to my hairstylist, and I just did a little video when I was in there. But we went through a couple people and had some, some of it was good, some of it wasn't. Where I think what I really learned, though, is we needed somebody who really understood video in there, so we could bring the quality of the video up better. So I brought Rob, come over here.
Where's Rob, man? He's the man.
So Rob, tell.
What's up, man?
So, go through your background.
So for the past 10 years, I've worked in the news industry, television news.
What time was that starting?
Well, I worked multiple shifts, but I would start, my last shift was 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, man.
Finish sometimes around noon or longer, depending on what the news of the day was.
And how quick did you have to get stories done and out?
So in the news industry, it's like that. It's got to be shot and boom, back. Sometimes you'd have 5 minutes. Right.
So coming from that experience now into this world where, not that we work normal hours, right? Jeff knows darn well we don't work normal hours. But, you have the ability now to not only create better video and capture what the team is doing, but you have the ability to guide them along with what is what they need to extract out of them. So you can almost feed them the questions. You can pan and zoom where we don't have to worry about that. We can just be our authentic selves. And I think having your ability on the team is just an amazing, amazing part of this whole solution. So I'm thrilled that you're working with us.
And if I couldn't, a lot of other things that we've done as we've grown organically. It's been a slow growth, but we've had to bring people in that do multiple jobs. So a photographer, for instance, when I first brought a photographer in, we really couldn't afford a photographer, but I had her do social media as well. So we had to find somebody who could have that right fit.
Right.
So sometimes you bring somebody in. It's like if I couldn't afford, if I would need to maybe I get somebody who just graduated somewhere who would specialize in video, and then have them do another piece of a job. And that's how you bring somebody in until you're ready to have the next. Exactly.
Right. So, that's a great point, because you got a lot of people sitting there saying probably right now, this sounds awesome, but I can't quite afford Rob on my staff. I'd love to have him, but I can't. So it's great. Intern, some college student. It won't be the ultimate production, but it's absolutely going to start to get you ramped up until you can put him into the budget.
The way I describe it too is, we want to highlight the local community, the businesses, the organizations. We want to show people when you move into a community, it's not just about where you live, your house, your physical house, but it's what's around you. So what do I have? So by highlighting these businesses, I'm forming that connection with our clients and with their clients.
That's right.
It's giving them a real video, terrific piece, that would cost them thousands of dollars to do. It's making a connection. It's a win-win. We're making it's good for them. They're into our whole network. Our email database, we have about an 85,000 email database that's broken down into these different communities. So we send out these market data reports once a month to about 200 different communities. So then the links of these news stories that we're doing, and specifically also that we can even break it down if they're specifically in those areas, goes out on the reports, and it's terrific exposure for the business. And then it's a win for us because we're now entering their network and their world. So whether they have 6,000 followers or 100, it's added exposure for us. So whether we're marketing a home or whatever, these are different ways of communicating. No different than sending out doing a newspaper ad or a postcard. It just, everybody has a smartphone, I think, as Gary Vee said, within arm's reach. And whether they're going to the bathroom or bed or eating, they're sneaking look on their phone at all times on whatever channel they're looking at.
Sure. Well, I mean, let's face it, like, we're leveraging platforms even like this. First of all, Facebook was, to some people a fad. Then to some, it was just a social thing. And now today's world lives in Facebook. And, we have to just simply do this in real estate. And it's not that complicated. Is you always have to go where the consumer's eyeballs are.
It's changing so fast. I remember when Google, I remember as a kid working, we got a fax machine. What are we going to do with that? I remember email, I thought was kind of dumb. I remember when what am I going to do with all this, web stuff? Is that going to be a fad? And our Netflix comes out. How's that going to change? And you either like Blockbuster, you don't change with it, or you do. And right. It's changing so rapidly. It's going to continue to change. But they're all on every social. They're all over different types of social media channels. So you've got to move there. But video has so many other multi-purposes too. So there's lots of different areas where you can blog it, you can use it on a video player. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can use it. We just did one. It was our really first professional video where we did it with our branding and music. We did it on a hot dog stand, and it's more of a restaurant than a stand. Yeah. So they have 6,000 followers, and so far there's been 119 shares, 120 in a day, 5,000 views. And there's like a reach of 12,000, all organically. There's no paid ads, and that's going to live on for a long time. So that's going to go up. And a number of people come up to me and said they saw the video. So if you can do that, let's say you do 5 of those a week. At the end of the year, you've got 250 videos in there. So the key is how do you keep it going? So I look at ourselves as the news, and that's how we're forming relationships. We're promoting other businesses, and then our website's incorporating that. So we have different community pages. There's different things that we can promote things within the community, and it's another resource that a user can go to within our page where they can find local information out.
Sure. Well, let's look at it this way. And if someone on my team here, if you don't mind trying to go to the Echo, or someone from Echo, go post the link, or go to the Echo Find Properties page and look at the link they just did with the hot dog stand, if you will. Was it called Dune Dogs? What was it
called? Dune Dog.
Dune Dogs. Here's what happens. People have to understand that you can make a post, and this is where we all get caught up in community stuff. You can make a post and a write-up about the hot dogs and a picture maybe of them and the hot dog. But there is nothing like when you watch the video that these guys do and are doing on an almost daily and weekly basis now, you're not only understanding where these owners came from, the owners get to share their vision. You actually want to eat the darn hot dog as they're showing it, because it's got a visual and a very emotional context to it, to where you're making that connection to your audience and to the owners that are sitting there behind the scenes. So please take a look at that video. The amount of organic traffic you guys got is amazing, and it's just the beginning.
Well, we did another one. We did a hotel,
and
we highlighted, highlighted this local hotel. So one of the things is, we want to do a conference there. This becomes our choice of where we're going to go. They're going to get some business out of us. But then they were grateful for it, and they said, would you like to advertise on our video board your brand, and we'll be happy to recommend you. We did a video the other day, and two people, came up looking for real estate and ended up making a connection just by doing a video. One guy, another one we did said, would you like to put a sign in the restaurant? So there's all sorts of, it's like an earthquake happens, but then after the dust settles, all sorts of other things that you're not expecting to happen, end up happening.
Sure. And keep in mind the viral context of it. It might be, when we're doing a live session, or like even now, it might live today. It's living every day on your page. Plus it'll live, a year from now, whether it's pushed to YouTube. And that's not taking advantage yet of what they're doing with it. They might be promoting it and using that video in their own personal promotions. That's still driving your name and brand wherever they are. So many angles to this story.
Right. The hardest part is just getting started and going to, doing the basics first to get you going and not giving up, because it's been a struggle for a year. But looking back at it, it's not as hard as it was. It was just figuring out how to do it, and it was a lot of bad habits. Like people just want to post, oh, here's a review of some restaurant that the Palm Beach Post posted, so let me like that and share that. They're going to the Palm Beach Post if they want to read that. They don't want to read about all the events or that. It's forming the relationships within the community and getting yourself out there and meeting people and being where you're at, where your community really is, and understanding the story.
You see some of these gray hairs, Jeff? Those gray hairs come from that exact statement, is trying to explain and teach the strategy of doing this and getting people to just post community stuff and thinking they're doing it, and it's auto posting, and it's cookie cutter stuff that does not get the people involved. Our business is simply go find and talk to new people and build relationships. That's all our business is.
Right.
Real estate's the product. The business is people. And today's world, we're leveraging technology, as simple as it might be. Sometimes, and look, if you didn't have Rob and the camp crew, this device can still work. It's, you could pull it off. The Gary V's of the world leverage this stuff all day. I use it all day on a live stream some days. We're using it now on your end. The device is there for us to use. It's what you do with it. And, so you've got this strategy going now where you've kind of worked out all the systems and kinks. What's the vision? What other types of businesses? Who are we targeting? How big of a community are you sprawling to?
I see there's two parts of it. One part is the homeowner, and what's the story behind the home? There's I went through this staging with one homeowner, and they're showing all the great staging that they did, and they said the only thing we're not taking down is this mistletoe. So why is that? Well, it reminds us, to love each other. So I did a little video with my iPhone, and then that part of it was, and they gave them. I said that to them in the video. I didn't tell them I was going to do it. Then they went there and hugged each other, and everybody just melted when they saw that. But that was the story of the house, or why did you buy it? There's a lot of open-ended questions, to ask. What made you choose here over another neighborhood? What do you love about it? What's your favorite room in the house? Things like that. So, and they're going to share it with. So you do a video like that, they'll share it with their friends. Those friends are the people who are out there, and that may get forwarded on and help sell the home, and then you've got, it just kind of goes wherever it goes. So that's one part of the equation. Then the other part of the equation is the local businesses. So right. Business could be everything. It could be a doctor's office. It could be a restaurant. Could be the landscaper who does a lot of business in the area. Could be a financial planner. Could be it could really be just about anything, as long as they're in the community and they're working the community, and you have some trust in what they do, and then there'll be some natural reciprocity because people like to help each other out. They'll remember that, and then there's some after effects that can happen. You're going to get their name, you're going to get their email, and there's all sorts of different ways you're going to connect with them over time. It's just building your sphere of influence, and those people are also, they're the sphere of influences in the community, because they have more touches of people than just a loner.
That's the whole point of this is, that one person you're meeting with, or the ownership of any business. Let's face it, we've said this all the time, is when you walk into a typical owner of anybody, whether they're the massage therapist or the doctor, who's walking in their door looking to actually provide value to help them genuinely market their business. Actually, It's either someone's in there to collect money, sell them something, drop off nonsense, or just solicit. Here, we're walking in with a value proposition, a chance to shake hands and meet them genuinely. And here's a good point too: is also bring them business. When you did Doom Dogs, you brought your team for lunch, the whole team for lunch there, didn't you?
Yeah, we did a sales meeting with 30 some odd people, and he gave us a really nice price and everything. And it ended up becoming a little fun day, and everybody ends up being exposed to it.
That's right.
Everybody in our team sees all the things that everybody wants to promote now, the different businesses that we're doing. So they're getting a lot of exposure, out of it, and we can, and here's where to stay when you're going there, if you've had a good experience, obviously, with it.
So here's real good takeaway, is leading by example. Take your team with you. If they're intimidated, if you're watching this and you're like, I'm kind of stuck, find someone who's doing it. Jeff led the way on this one. It was his interview, his showing the way, brought his whole team there to feel the culture, watch the video, watch the end result. And when you
because part of bringing the team there, it was an experience. So everybody's nervous. How am I going to look on camera? What am I going to say? What happens? There was at 11:15, the owner, he wants to go and make sure his customers are taken care of. So I could see that in his eyes, and we could talk about that afterwards. So
yeah.
How do you move it so that we're not bothering him and we're not interfering in his business? We had a microphone issue where we didn't bring a second microphone. So How do you handle that situation rather than panic? Or just like what we have this, going on right now, where we don't have a good stand and we had to go to an iPhone rather than the computer. You got to improvise.
Right.
But that became good opportunities. And since we did that meeting, it's taken a lot of the fear out of it. And I think a lot of our team kind of knows what to do and how to take the next step with it.
Sure. So now that you've led by example, you've executed the strategy, you'll still continue to do that. How do you engage your team now? Does Rob and your team, do they start to work with the agents in their farm areas, or are they going to start to engage in this, leveraging the teams?
I think it's both. Rob handed one out the other day, and it's almost like handing out, do you have a here's a buyer to work with, or here's a listing to have, because you end up going on this particular appointment, and the agent is the one doing the interview, and they're making the connections with these people. That was one where there was two opportunities. That's terrific for an agent to have. It's giving them a lot of exposure. And then we have agents within our team who are really getting it, and they're coming up a list. I saw one person yesterday had 30 businesses that they're reaching out to and talking to. So once people get it, it's no different than first we all saw, like with Google. Well, why don't people come in here? They read the paper, or they're walk-ins. Those are the best people. And at some point, internet leads became powerful. I see this as the exact same thing, and I want to dominate it. So it's, how do we make this happen in mass? Not just, okay, I'm going to go repost something or give some restaurant review, or which is not going to really go anywhere. With it.
Yeah,
I don't want 1 or 2 likes and no shares, because that's useless. You might as well put your money, which is what I did before until I was ready to tackle this.
Yeah,
so I think we're on the right track with it. So that's where I see it going, down the road.
Cool. And, that's not even to not mention is, the viral part of being able to boost a post like that, or share it to your database of people, sharing some of the marketing strategy you guys have. So, I mean, there's so much more. Even once that video is captured and pushed online, you could really take it and let it.
Well, we have this other piece where we have these 85,000 emails and these reports. Sure. So we have the reach and the distribution to push it out. That's a major advantage that we have built in, is that we have the audience to really take a lot of this material, not just on social media, but give it this extra super boost. So and when the website comes out, that's going to be that's really going to be the third area, because the website that we've done, there's video that's programmed for all these different areas, from social media to community, that it's going to give it a third leg.
Yeah, and I know some of the goals we've set, some lofty goals for team growth and some revenue numbers, and I think this will be one of the major pilots that gets you there. And also, if I'm sitting out there in real estate world as an agent, from a team value proposition, this is awesome. Like, how could you not take advantage of someone who's got these systems in place to be able to walk in the door and have someone already have it done and mastered? If
an agent comes here, and we're giving them, there's photography, so we do night shots, we do aerials. We don't have to leave at 2 o'clock. We wait for the sun to come out so the picture's correct. So we have a built-in photographer. We pay for it. We have 2, people who handle all the incoming leads. So when a lead comes in, they get answered, within a 5 to 15 minute window and push things out to them. Closing coordinator, internally, IT person, and then the video part of it. We're doing a profile piece on them that they get to use, along with a player, and then use on all the different, on all the different areas. And then, this part of it, where that would be really unaffordable, to do it. It just gives a lot of advantages to an agent coming over here. It can be done without it. You can be on your own, but they're hard to to do it, the way we're doing it.
Sure. And look, to try and compete with that's insane too. Let's face it, when you start to get domination that way and start to own the media waves as well, to me, this is more powerful than local television and sometimes even cable across mass scales. The power of this platform and these platforms are so viral right where people's eyeballs are today, at almost, not saying no cost, but the opportunity of very little cost other than the overhead of shooting it. That's where the game is. So
hang on 1 second. Can you grab Carrie really quick?
Is Carrie there?
We're gonna go grab him. Yeah,
please do. Because I want to hear his how did I get over Facebook stuff, and I want to hear his challenges and all that good stuff.
So my dad, just to give him a background, assuming he's here somewhere. Dad my dad has a really interesting background. He's a lawyer by trade, economics major. Took a $3 million company, $100 million company when he sold it, retired, played golf for a decade. And then he came in here and he got his real estate license. He hurt his back at 68. So he came in with all these number 2 pencils and yellow pads. I said, it's not going to work. So we got him on the computer and he tackled everything from scratch. He handles everything over $1 million. So here's Dad, who I thought he's Mr. Echo.
What's up? I love it.
So a year ago, I said, you need to get on Facebook. And he kind of gave me a look. So, Dan, why don't you sit down and talk to Jeff and
come here.
How you got going with social media and what you're doing now.
Well, I'm, this is
shake the tape.
Look at this. I love it, man.
So that's me behind. That's also me behind.
There's no gray hairs here, by the way.
I know, he's already worked them off.
So that painting behind.
Yeah.
I painted that for Jeff. That's 98 inches wide.
Get out.
That's the Echo logo. And so every night I go into my club and I wear the Echo shirt. And this is my business card.
Oh man. Okay? Yep.
And that's Jeffrey and my daughter and my son-in-law to be. And so one of the ladies grabbed me last night and she says, Carrie, everything that you're doing is Echo. It's enough already. And I said, you said the perfect thing, because what's happened is I branded it. And so you now know who Echo is. So I said, I'm so happy you're complaining.
It's created the Echo effect. Now they're hearing it over and over and over again. Right. So tell me your struggle with, because Jeff was telling me your struggle with Facebook in the beginning. Like, what was your first thoughts of Facebook?
Oh, it's a stupid fuck.
Right. Right. It's stupid. It's absolutely just insane. Now, right. How long ago?
Who the fuck would ever use it? Okay, I don't want to look at pictures of everybody's grandchildren. This is for women. Okay.
Yeah.
So I
live in fear.
This is.
Well, he lives in fear. What's going to come out of my mouth?
That's okay.
I tell customers, please go fuck yourself, and they laugh.
Oh my God! Hey, it's our show, our rules. This is it, so it doesn't matter. So what made you change? Like, do you think differently now?
I'll tell you what made me change. I'm listening to Jeff, and I'm listening to Jeff, and I couldn't do it by myself, and so before Rob came, Jeff had a predecessor. Rob had a predecessor,
Yep.
and I couldn't relate to her, and so I asked Jeff for the name of a person who could help me. And I had about 5 2-hour sessions, and she got me started. And it started with my paintings because I'm an artist, and so I thought rather than post about real estate, I would post about my paintings and how I develop art and everything. And people like that because it's interesting. And so that's how I got started. And now I'm into it, and I'm on it, and I'm wasting all my time doing it. and I'm reading all this shit that everybody is posting, but I understand it.
I mean, I think the goal for you is watching where, maybe your career started, where, the biggest thing we had was signage, and maybe an MLS developed back in the day, and we had exposure. I mean, this exposure, even right now, we're on a live stream. Let's just think about this for a second. This live stream right now, if you watch local cable in Jupiter, Florida, or local TV, you're only going to see a certain amount of stations, and then you'll see your cable broadcast. Right now, people from England, Russia, China, North Carolina, anywhere in the country world can see this on demand right now. How crazy powerful is that? And it costs us nothing.
Right.
Nothing. So the ability now to target people, especially now once we start taking some of this content we're building and targeting certain audiences. If your audience comes from Boston, Mass, because they're tired of the damn cold up there in the winter, we could target them all winter long and tease them with your palm trees all day long. Right? So it takes a while to adapt, and I'm so thrilled you see the value in this now. And you say it wasting time, but to others, it's super powerful, man.
Well, we've got Rob, and
we do. So exciting.
And it's interesting. He has a very nice way about him. He's in the room. I'm sucking up to him right now.
Okay.
But tell what you were just doing a second ago with the video with Doondog, for example, because you were in there.
Oh, so I what is it? I shared it with about 50 or 60 people.
Right.
He showed me how to do that. So not only did I post it myself, but I posted it on people's timelines.
There you go.
So I'm curious, and on the video, if you watch the video, when I take a bite out of the hot dog, there's a very cute response by me. and so what I said is, watch the video and watch Carrie after it takes a bite out of the hot dog, and then I went ... priceless. So a lot of people will watch that because they know me.
Yep.
Or maybe some people will watch it because
how many businesses have you thought of to do?
Oh, probably 40 or 50.
We're gonna be very busy.
Yeah.
Be very busy.
What type of businesses?
Primarily restaurants.
Okay.
Because I don't think they're not interested in builders, but there's you can do flooring companies because people are looking at remodeling, and I'm good at any type of home improvement.
Sure.
And you should I want to make sure that you see our branding here. Can you see that? I think I can. It's there, man. You should be a branding expert if you're that you have that energy that's just contagious. So, yeah. Although you're right, it might scare you a little bit, Jeff, in the background, wondering what's gonna. It's
time to go away now.
It's like the Howard Stern of radio. Like, what's he gonna say next?
So Jeffrey just told me to get the fuck off.
Dad's out, but that's where it all starts. Hey, it's the evolution. And so,
that's your money. Oh, it's your wallet. I thought you wanted to shake my hand.
I thought you wanted to share that. Well, proud of you, man. So real quick to wrap up our session, you've got a really lofty goal, which I think is absolutely in the picture. This is a great strategy. Is there one tip you would share to somebody that's now saying, I need to do this now? Where do I start? And I think you gave a few tips, but what are one or two things? Is it fear? What's the hurdle we got to get over?
It's the fear. So if you take a look at my dad, that was, well, one is to make it work and believe it's going to work. So I had that belief in here. Sometimes you do something and you beat yourself up, I'll do a lot of experimental things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I was convinced this was going to work, so I was going to stick with it. Yeah. So you're going to go through some pain with it, and don't give up. And I just always break things down. So if you looked at Kerry, he had a fear. He had a fear of, I don't really understand this. I don't know what to do with it. But Gary Vee's thing that he first said was, you need to do it yourself. So you need to get on Facebook, or if you're not used to it, and just start doing it.
Right. And
then write all the reasons down why you're not doing it or what to do, and then execute a game plan, just like you would with anything else. And whatever the excuse is, I don't have enough money, or I don't have time, or I don't know how to do it, or I'm embarrassed about something about my physical appearance, or whatever it is, or I don't know what to say. Each one of those things can be tackled, and you can overcome it.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest challenge is fear. I don't think it's the execution of having a person. I think it's truly just 99% of the people that the second you hit that record button, they don't know what to do. And we get too caught up in the whole video thing. It's literally go talk to people. Like, that's what we do for a living.
You're gonna have to do this down the road anyways. This is the newspaper today. This is a postcard. Either you get that or you don't. But 5 years from now, everybody who resisted a smartphone, everybody who resisted being on email, we all have it. Everybody has a smartphone, today. Everybody has an email address, today. This will be a few years from now. This is going to be a thing, and either you jump into it and get ahead of the curve right now, or you wait and you figure it out. Oh my God, I don't have a website.
Yeah. That was the best closing thoughts is you're going to have to do this now. So either get on the bandwagon now, or you can just continue to follow and let people lead the way, in which we're doing here. So we're continue to lead the way. And by that 5 years, when they're finally catching on because they waited too long, we'll be taking advantage of new strategies coming down the pike. And that's what keeps leaders. So I can't thank you enough. I'm super proud of all you're doing, man. It's just awesome. And I'm excited about it because I see it happening.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a plug. I mean, you've been great advice along the way, and it's really helped us, hit some major milestones. So, Jeff is terrific to work with.
I appreciate that. And, for those who are watching, do yourself a favor. If we don't have the link in there, we will have the link. Go to the Equifine Properties page and look at some of the videos he's doing. There is no perfect world, but the execution of them, and look at the amount of organic traffic they're getting. The best way to do this is watch how it's being done. Go learn from it.
There's about 8 or 9, but we're moving quickly, and the branding of it's quickly, and how we're putting the logo up and the music. There's a lot of things that are going on at the same time. So I'm really excited about it because I know where it's going to be a month from now, in 6 months from now, or a year from now is going to, it's going to change and happen, just rapidly.
Sure. All right. Well, I got to wrap up the show. It's about 40, 45 minutes or so. And thank you guys for watching. As always, we're going to keep bringing it. Come to the SparkTank Media Facebook page. Check us out. We'll keep bringing this stuff, also pushing it to YouTube as well. And we'll catch you in a week or so. Thanks so much, Jeff, for your time. We'll see you.
Okay. Bye. Adios.